Hello there, welcome to 7 at 7, where we settle into stillness for 7 minutes at 7 o'clock. My name's Naomi Toland. Let's take a big deep breath in. And release. Just bringing ourselves into this present moment. Big deep breath in. And release. Feeling your body sinking deeper and deeper into the surface beneath you. The theme for today's session is baby steps. Laying in bed, I want to be here all day. Out there feels scary. I want to keep my fears at bay. Why did I do this? I could have been more secure, taking the easier path, being a lot more sure. Fighting with the voices that pop inside my head. You don't have to be here, just go back home instead. But there's something that keeps pushing me. I know I can do this if I let myself just be. For now, I just need baby steps to take. What do they say? To make it, you have to fake. I don't really want to pretend, not be real. I'm just being kind to myself, allowing myself to feel. This is all different, experiencing something new. Saying one day, you'll be proud that you grew. Growing requires planting seeds in the dark, keeping the embers of the flame alive, starting a brand new arc. And so at the minute, I think I'm noticing people talking about how they want to start something new, or they want to look at a different path, or they've noticed some things like a crossroads that they're at where they don't really know what to do next. And whenever I work with people on going through that growth cycle, it's the idea of how do you take one step at a time. A lot of times I know in my world I can get so distracted by where I'm not at yet or where I have been. So you can go into fear because you know what might happen, or you can be anxious because you want to get to a certain part and you can get paralyzed by that. You can get stuck in the unknown. But just taking that baby step, giving yourself permission to just take one step at a time is such a big way and a big part of allowing ourselves to grow over time in that space. And I think that says what growing requires planting seeds in the dark. Again, going from winter into spring into summer, that idea of that growth cycle. What seeds are looking to be planted right now in the dark? How are we feeling whenever we're in that dark space? Because we can just rush ahead and get ourselves so preoccupied by what's not happening, or judging ourselves, or being so hard on ourselves. Oh my gosh, we're just so hard on ourselves. The mind tells us such crazy stories, and it's a survival mechanism that is meant to protect us, but a lot of times it just gets us into trouble with ourselves or with other people, because shame and fear and those things, judgment, can fill ourselves up. So what baby steps can we take? Being kind to ourselves as we're taking those baby steps, and then seeing how much progress we can make over time because of those baby steps that we've taken. And so the part that we have from John O'Donoghue today says, which part did I want to read to you from this page? It's not that. There is so little distance between the spark and the raging furnace. If the spark can take hold at all, the material is flammable. Within minutes, what has an ordinary I'm going to start again. I'm not going to start again in the video, because actually I'm getting more used to me not judging myself for not getting things completely right. So that's what I'm working on at the minute, just to bring it in there. There is so little distance between the spark and the raging furnace. If the spark can take hold at all and the material is flammable, within minutes, what was an ordinary sequence of objects is a definite place, has become a raging inferno. And so I think what I wanted to read that part of it is our thoughts can run away from us. It can be a runaway train. And that whole idea of the spark can be beautiful, and we can spark a new thing coming into our life, and we can start to tend to it and let it grow. But also our thoughts can be that spark, and then we can go on that spiral and we can get really hot, and a fire can burn inside of us that hurts us. So thinking about the idea of how do we feed the fire inside of us slowly, those adding logs intentionally, instead of just free falling, free blowing, and the big fire happening inside of us. That's kind of what I'm working with again, with the idea of that perfectionism with our thoughts in our head. Before, I would have been judging myself about reading that story or reading that thing and wanting to start again and retake and retake and retake. But there's so, in our world at the minute where it's perfectionism shown online, I think what I would love this space to be is how do we show growth over time? And so the card that we have is the Shaolin Master. And it says, be graceful in movement and action. Let's take a deep breath in. Be graceful in movement and action. Slow and steady, breathe and flow, take a gentler approach. Shaolin monks practice Chan Buddhism and are masters of Kung Fu art and traditional Chinese medicine. Shaolin medicine is about learning to adapt to a situation and to tap into the energy running through your body and preserve it in order to release it at the right moment. It also teaches subtlety because subtlety. It also teaches subtlety because when you're too forceful, you use too much energy and you may not be supportive of what you are working on. The Shaolin master, like a monk, has respect for all things, depicted here holding a praying mantis. One of the forms of Shaolin martial arts is discipline and being guided by his art, and will never use it to impress the foolish or to appear stronger than someone who is threatening to him. You too are being invited to remain graceful in your movement, choices, and actions. You're being guided to flow, blow like air, and connect with your purest intentions. Do not feel the need to rush ahead. A gentler approach will be more fruitful and rewarding. Reach high, but also ask yourself how you can move with flow rather than pushing against it. And so that for me is definitely, I think, I was speaking to a friend today about the idea of the more we force things, the more we think we know what we should be doing, a lot of times things can break or they might not turn out what we expect them to look like. But whenever we take a step back and allow things to come in a little more gentle way, I'm surprised and shocked every time almost by how many things can come in that way as well. So what are we forcing at the minute? How are we jumping to conclusions or kind of really in that control mode? How can we bring ourselves back to our breath and allow things to flow rather than force? If you found the answer, tell me how. I think the answer for me at the minute is just bringing myself back. That's breathe in and breathe out. Allowing yourselves to come back into this present moment is a way to be more resourceful. Bringing yourself back to the breath. Noticing what stories you're creating. Noticing what state you're in and what way you're moving from to the conversation with. Fire can be a great thing to fuel us moving forward. But it also can be a thing that burns ourselves and burns other people. So going gentle, going slow, and allowing those to come in. One final breath. I know we're over our 7 minutes, but one final breath.